Hello, everyone, and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You've got Murph, you've got Jacob Collins. It's Monday night, and that means we are live for the INDYCAR Open Series top split from one of my favorites, one of Jacob's favorites. It's Twin Ring Motegi.
I believe they've actually rebranded this to Mobility Resort Motegi. They might have put Motegi in the retirement home with the oval here.
Yeah, so this track, as Jacob Collins alluded to, it is no longer on the schedule. Maybe returning, maybe not. It was a staple on the INDYCAR circuit basically since its inception in 1997. This track opened in 97. It was on the Champ Car INDYCAR schedule from basically then until 2008. And not until 2008. It was on the schedule, until what? I lost my train of thought. 2011. It was decided Danica Patrick's lone IndyCar win in 2008. That's why I had 2008 on my mind. The last event was on the road course, Jacob, because this oval is no longer usable.
Yeah, I believe it was one of the many earthquakes or tsunami damages that ended up ultimately doing that one in.
The Tohoku earthquakes 2011 resulted in some damage to the oval, and it's really never been suitably repaired. We watched Jason Brophy make his laps. Let's hop on board Jarrett Corey now. We'll get the standings up so that the fans at home can follow along, and we'll kind of walk you through a lap here at Twin Ring Motegi. Going down the backstretch now is Jarrett Corey, and you see him moving the wheel back and forth, trying to get some heat in that number 18 Dallara. The speeds are not 340 miles an hour, so we'll go ahead and make that change. Jason Brophy right now, quick lap 205, 251. That is good enough. That is 26,438, 26,438. The track record here at Motegi on the oval, 1.549 miles is the distance. The outright track record here is held by Helio Castroneves, 1999 Lola B99, 25,830. We are about half a second off of that. We are quicker than the IndyCar track record here, though. We'll jump on board Robert Malechka as he goes out for his qualifying lap. Just as we go, there he is. So you're going to see two very distinctive ends here around this course, Jacob. 1.5 miles front straightaway, turns 1 and 2 very, very wide and very flat.
Yeah, there's also kind of a noteworthy bump kind of directly in between turn 1 and turn 2, and you'll see drivers kind of hit that and have their wheels, or their steering wheel rather, kind of jut to the left just a little bit, and that could cause some problems, particularly if you don't get set up for it and cause yourself a good bit of grief on the exit heading down the backstretch here.
You can, and then you come through the short end of the track. It is higher banked, and it is very narrow, turns 3 and 4. You see Robert Malechka III. He will jump to the pole, 26,329, 211.797 miles an hour. It is interesting to note that this track is basically, if you want to think of Motegi like this, it's basically a modern, wider, and much more smooth Darlington. Would be the way that I would describe it. This track also houses two other things of note. There is a road course here. Reason it's called Twin Ring Motegi. Well, there's a road course, 2.983 miles. It for a long time has hosted the Japanese round of MotoGP World Superbike. The IndyCars raced here for their final event in 2011. And it is also the site of the Honda Collection Hall, and that might be one of the coolest things that's here. The two racetracks notwithstanding, the track is owned by Honda. Of course, Fuji Speedway owned by Toyota, so Honda needs their own track too, right, Jacob? And here we are. It's a beautiful facility. You'll notice that it doesn't ever appear to be full in the television coverage, and that's because the attendance here is limited by the transportation available. There's not enough infrastructure to support the capacity of the speedway. So how about that, Jacob?
Wasn't too unlike when they had the issues trying to get fans into the Kentucky Speedway back in the day when they brought Cup there.
Something like that, Jacob. Something like that. On the grid, it's going to be Robert Molechka, 208.3945 miles an hour. He'll go from the pole position. In second, it's Adam Blocker. Row 2, Jason Brophy, Alan Brutteau. Anna Klimek, Ty Keeler are going to make up row 3. Matt Taylor, Casey Povolonis, Rashad Craig, and Robin Glakis. Great qualifying spot for Uncle Rob. He's going to go from 10th. In 11th, it's Seb Alexander, Jarrett Corey 12th. Lilac Zier, Crash Neon, Primetime, John Stellard, Oliver Samunu, Kyle Clinworth, Jacob Oster, and Ellis Spice. Going to round out your 19-car starting field. It is just a touch, Jacob. Just a touch under 5,000. 49.83 on the strength of field here tonight.
Yeah, certainly not too shabby on the field here tonight. Just 2 cars not taking time in qualifying. That'll be Jacob Oster and Ellis Spice, those last 2 cars in the grid here tonight. And it's interesting you kind of mentioned Darlington earlier on with your comparison here in Motegi, because that's actually where the Indy Next Oval Series will be heading to tomorrow night.
Indeed it is. This track, very similar to Darlington in layout, very similar to Gateway in the way that it's laid out. It's just a little bit bigger than those 2 facilities, but it is most certainly unique amongst motor racing facilities, and unique too in that there's a, when you think of an oval and a road course, or Roval, you think Daytona, Charlotte, something like that, where the oval or where the road course is contained within the oval. This one is contained within the oval, but the 2 tracks, they never join up, Jacob.
Yeah, you can actually kind of see it as the drivers navigate the backstretch. There's actually a bridge that goes over the road course configuration that the oval kind of occupies, and that's kind of the fun thing you'll see if you can get the right camera angle at it, watching the drivers head and over another track entirely here from Motegi.
Absolutely. We'll kind of get up in the blimp and show you guys in the show the fans in the stands what we're talking about. There it is. As they cross over, you can see the road course here at Twin Ring Motegi. But they never touch. They share a common garage facility, but they do not ever interact. At least the tracks do not. So it's kind of an interesting quirk here, Jacob.
Pace car will lead the field into turns 3 and 4.
Robert Molechka, Adam Blocker, Jason Brophy, your top 3. Alan Brutteau is the best of the non-power slide machines. He'll roll 4th. I am interested to see that 3rd row. Anna Klimek and Ty Keeler, they are going to be lightning quick. Pace car is off. Barney's got the green flag in hand, and we are underway here at Twin Ring Motegi.
We're almost 4 wide. Right behind Molechka there. They'll get it figured out, settle in at least 2 by 2. Blocker will get ahead of Brophy here.
There's still 4 wide back in the pack. That's Robin Glakis, Seb Alexander, Rashad Craig involved in that mess. Kyle Clinworth makes it 4 wide, going down the back on the bottom. Clindy trying to come from his 18th starting spot. He's already made up 4 spots, and he continues to pull forward.
Not an uncommon sight to watch him pass cars in a hurry here, particularly at the likes of Motegi. He'll be looking to gain some ground here early because track position's very hard to come by here as Glakis goes real wide off the exit of turn 2.
He did. There's Clindy. He's going to fire his car underneath Lilac Zier. That's for 13th spot. Now he'll see if he can't make ground. Robin Glakis way high up against the wall. Clinworth will slide past, so will Zier. Move Clindy into the 12th spot. Now he's going to go to work on Jarrett Corey in 11th. Move Clinworth to 11th, and there's Seb Alexander in 10th. The 2 Alliance cars, one for Indy Alliance Racing, the other for Rogue Racing. Clinworth going to go to the bottom. He's going to make it past Seb into 10th. Right here as they go through turns 3 and 4, I would think Seb pinches him down a little bit, leaves him plenty of room though. Clinworth didn't quite make it, so 4 laps, or 3 laps, excuse me, we get to lap 4. Clinworth has made it 7 spots.
Ty Keeler's kind of settled the battle for what stands as best of the rest now as he sits in the 4th spot ahead of Berteau and Klemick.
He has indeed, and that's what Ty Keela sees looking up ahead at Jason Brophy. Behind him, they're still all over the place, Jacob. You've got cars battling all through the field. Clinworth has now made it past Jarrett Corey and Matt Taylor. So there's Clinworth. He is underneath the automobile of Rashad Craig now.
And it looked like Matt Taylor slowed up a lot. Oh, he got loose off turn number 4, shot all the way down towards the inside wall, managed to save it before hitting it. But that explains Taylor's backwards momentum. We'll see if he can get that car underneath of him again and work his way forward.
It does indeed. Clindy now moves it up to 9th, and he's got the black, orange, and gold of Seb Alexander in front of him, and those two have come toward the front. Meanwhile, we've got a battle here for the 5th spot. It's Alan Berteau getting past Anna Klemick, so move Berteau back to 5th. Klemick will drop to the 6th spot, and there's Berteau, and they are chasing Ty Keela, who is chasing the Power Slide Armada.
And kind of the trio, if you will, of Malechka, Blocker, and Brophy. Blocker's about a half second behind Rob with another second back to Brophy in the 3rd spot. Kind of just takes a little while for the field to kind of settle itself out, and that may explain why those gaps have built up kind of where they have.
Yeah, it really does. You see him come off of turn number 4 there. Alan Berteau holds down that 5th spot. Matt Taylor has continued to slide backward. He's been passed by Jarrett Corey. Now he's under fire from Lilac Zier. Did he have any contact with the outside wall there, Caleb? Or Jacob, excuse me?
I don't believe so, but it's entirely possible just given that how much he had to correct that car. He maybe is trying to figure out how to get it back in position to get into a lane he prefers. Obviously, the high side through 3 and 4 isn't necessarily where a lot of drivers like to be. You really have to have perfect momentum through there to get that to work, and he's made it start to work now that he's in kind of his own set of track now, but it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of bound that forward here heading towards lap number 10.
We will see indeed. There are only 3 cars in the 26 second range. It's Malechka, Blocker, and Brophy. Everybody else is a 1/10 to 2/10 of a second adrift of them. You see primetime John Stellard. He looks to the inside of Jarrett Corey in what would be a battle for that 13th spot. And there's John Stellard. We've got his boss man Shane Coker in the chat. Welcome to Shane Coker. Get back up to the front. It's this man, Robert Malechka. And how many times have we seen this, Jacob Collins? Malechka shows up, an oval sits on the pole and sets sail.
Yeah, about as common of a sighting as green eggs and ham in a Dr. Seuss book.
Do you read Dr. Seuss there, Collins?
These days, probably not. However, I am familiar with the works of one Mr. Seuss.
Flip back here. Kyle Clinworth has gotten past the cheese. Casey Povolonis to move Clindy to 8th. Povolonis to 9th. Rashad Craig has pulled into that fight. He is 10th. Seb Alexander just ahead of them. Seb's having himself a decent early race. He, like Clinworth, has moved up the field. He started 11th, and he now runs 7th in that Indy Alliance machine. But Clindy is the big mover. 17th on the grid to 8th. And really, he looks content, I think, to follow Alexander for a little bit here. Jacob, just see if they can't run down Anna Klemick.
Well, I think the big thing with Motegi is kind of once the opening couple laps fade away, the tires start to even out a good bit throughout the field. You're not going to see people making quite as quick or speedy of gains here. It's going to come down to maybe a bit of strategy, hit a good overcut, hit a good undercut, leapfrog a couple cars, and then try to hang on to it in the later stages of the race.
Yes, indeed. This is a two-stopper, just like most mile and a halves. 50 to 55 laps on the fuel tank, so you're going to have to make 2 stops. It's going to be where you make those 2 stops. We don't anticipate a ton of fall off from the tires here, Jacob. But what you will see affect these drivers, as we look at Alan Berteau, what you will see affect these drivers later on in the run is a lot of dirty air. There's Anna Klimek is she's being chased by Seb Alexander. She's pulling away from Seb just a little bit. But dirty air can be very difficult at Motegi, especially in that short end of the track down there in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to see drivers kind of enter really low, get hit by a wave of that dirty air, and shoot way high. Not too unlike, say a gateway when you get kind of tucked low, you'll see cars shoot progressively further and further up the track. It's a bit more exaggerated here just given the banking and how quick that outside wall comes back at you with as much speed as you're trying to carry through there.
Yeah, it does. And let's jump on board Anna Klimek here just to kind of show everybody what we're talking about. We'll ride into Anna's right eyeball as she navigates turns 3 and 4. But the wall here at the exit of turns 3 and 4, it really jumps out at you. Very much like the narrow end at Darlington. It's almost like it just wants to rush up and smack you instead of the other way around. And it doesn't help that you're on the power right there either, Jacob. It also is the one place on the course where your car can get very, very free. Right there.
Yeah, you really unload the car coming off the corner through there, and it hasn't been an uncommon sight to see a number of drivers over the course of many races here at Motegi to just snap the car, shoot straight down the track like we saw with Matt Taylor earlier. He was fortunately able to catch that automobile, but sometimes you don't get it quite as lucky with just as fast as that wall or kind of takes you around here.
No, you don't. It is worth noting Anna Klimek has started to close down on Alan Berteau. She's made up just since we've jumped on board with her. She's made up 0.3 of a second, and she just clicked off another lap just a hair faster than Berteau. Berteau, for what it's worth, has also reeled in Ty Keela, so we'll want to keep an eye on this battle because Alan Berteau is looking all over the back of the number 6 Rogue Racing entry.
Yeah, that gap has started to relatively quickly decrease for Keela's. He's fallen well away from Jason Brophy now over 2 seconds, the gap between those two. Berteau's got Keela in the crosshairs, and that would likely bring Anna Klimek in here if they start to get into battling side by side here.
It most certainly will. Now, here's the thing. Catching a guy at Motegi is one thing. Passing is completely another. It's very difficult to pass somebody here if they're through turns 1 and 2. If they hold the bottom line, it's very difficult to drive around them on the outside. So you almost have to, Jacob, have to kind of run an alternate line through turn 3 and 4. A lot of guys will try to start that pass high and then cut low on exit and try to get a run down the front so they can steal the inside going through turn 1. But it can be very difficult to pass here. Jump on board Alan Berteau.
Yeah, you kind of need to get a brave move going into turns 3 and 4, get to the bottom, just dive it, and hope you can stick to maybe somebody running further away from that bottom lane through that corner.
Absolutely. It's not as much of a problem in turns 1 and 2 as it is in 3 and 4. But once the tires get worn, and they're certainly starting to wear now, this end of the speedway can be a bear to get through in traffic. Do want to kind of point out to everybody at home, we were talking about that bump in turns 1 and 2. You can visibly see it on the track. If you look at that discoloration on the apron, there's a bit of it that comes out onto the racing surface itself. That's where the tunnel is, and that bit of discoloration is where that bump that Jacob Collins was alluding to is located on the racing surface, and that will upset the car. You will see left front wheel bounce up and down as Clinworth has now gotten past Seb Alexander, and he'll go to work on Anna Klimek. And you see Clindy kind of shading up and down on Anna Klimek through turns 1 and 2. He's got a huge run down the back. Clindy's going to dive to the inside through 3 and 4 here.
Yeah, we're going to see if he can make that momentum stick. We'll roll side by side here off the corner. He's just not able to carry the exit speed, so he'll tuck back into line on Klimek here down the front stretch, see if he can set it up here in 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's going to make that same move down to the inside through turns 1 and 2. This time he's going to get the move done. When you do that move in turns 3 and 4, so move Clindy up to 6th, Clinworth to 6th place, plus 11 on the day. Definitely the hard charger thus far. When you make that move, Jacob, into 3 and 4 on the bottom, it's very difficult to get off the corner. Not so you have to kind of roll out of the throttle a little bit. The other thing is it's just like when everybody's in a conga line at the top at Michigan or Fontana. It's very difficult when you pull down the bottom because you don't have any draft.
Yeah, you don't really get any help down the front stretch because everybody's kind of camping it up on the outside wall on the exit there. But Clenworth was able to keep the momentum built up just enough to launch it into 1 and 2, pick up that spot on Anna Klimek. He'll be trying to hunt down Alan Berteau now, who's just a second up the road here.
Yeah, Alan Berteau with a 0.6 of a second advantage over Kyle Clenworth. And this is what that looks like off the back of Alan Berteau. Right now, looking back at Kyle Clenworth off the gearbox. And you can see Clindy using the alternate line, entering a little bit higher. He's trying to cut down low on exit, keep himself in the clean air, and see if he can't maneuver a little bit closer to Alan Berteau.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a slow burn to try to get caught up to Alan here. But if anybody's been able to figure out how to make passes here tonight, it's been Kyle Clenworth, up 11.
You know, and that's kind of... Go ahead, Jacob.
I believe he's the only one to have made double-digit passes for position here tonight.
Well, and that's kind of the thing. We thought that it could be a difficult time to pass here. Motegi traditionally has been very hard to pass, especially in a fixed setup race. This, of course, is open, so the drivers will have tuned their cars up just a little bit. But traditionally, Motegi, very difficult to pass. And so, one would have thought, look, Clindy's starting in the back. It could have been a huge disadvantage, but he's rallied nicely up to that 6th spot. Check back. Go ahead.
I think the other thing we kind of forgot about with this race is I believe this is the first time we've seen Motegi with that hybrid unit in play, and that also has kind of, as we've seen time and time again, made things a bit more interesting in trying to get these cars around tracks like Motegi.
It is, and the other thing is, there's a built-in charging spot here. At a lot of ovals, the hybrid can be just as much of a liability as it can a help, just because it's a manual regen. Not so here. You'll see Clenworth. We'll jump on board with him one more time. But you'll see Clenworth here in the telemetry. He's either going to have a really long coast phase or he's going to be braking into turn 3. And so not much of a manual regen here either.
Yeah, it certainly helps in that department. Obviously, if you have to manually get in on that regen paddle, if you will, as many of the drivers likely have it configured, is you're having to lock the rear wheels up just a little bit. That'll induce some understeer, and with as tight as this track is already, is Clenworth's going to look to the bottom on Berteau. He's getting close.
Yeah, he's got a lot of rotation in that number 5, and you can see it especially on the short end of the track. Berteau is falling a little bit back off of Ty Keela. Clindy sticks it in on the bottom over that bump. He didn't quite get there through 1 and 2, but I think he's going to have him once they get down to the other end of the speedway, Jacob. Here he goes down to the bottom through 3 and 4.
Yeah, this is the harder end to pass on, but it looks like he's going to have the momentum build up. Berteau will let him on through. That'll move Clenworth up to the 5th spot. So he'll be looking down to hunt his own teammate and Ty Keela up ahead for 4th.
He will indeed. Now, Ty Keela has fallen about 4.5 seconds behind the leading power slide trio. That is Jason Brophy in 3rd. There he is. Brophy is a second behind this man, Adam Blocker, in 2nd, and Robert Malechka is out for a Sunday drive, leading 35 laps into 125 lapper. The action is right here around 3rd, 4th, or around 4th, 5th, and 6th. Ty Keela has it, but Kyle Clenworth is coming, and Clindy, Alan Berteau's not done with him yet. He just dove to the bottom through turns 1 and 2 and has a big run down the back.
Yeah, he's looking to try to take that position back potentially here as he'll dive low, cut high, get back into the toe of Clenworth ahead. And I think that's going to play the big factor here of these cars that have gotten a bit closer together as they're going to be able to draft off each other. Berteau will look low here.
Now, something you might not consider, or most avid watchers may not consider, we see cars on bigger speedways swap the draft back and forth. Do you think that can be effective here, Jacob?
I don't think so, and I think it just has to do with the straightaways aren't quite long enough, and with this tight radius as the corners are, you're going to find that to be a bit of a struggle. I think it's going to do more harm than good here at Motegi.
It's possible. Clintworth, big wiggle coming off of turn number 4, and he lost his spot back to Alan Berteau. So move Berteau back to 5th, and now Alan Berteau will give chase after Ty Keela. We are approaching the opening of the pit window. That would open at lap 42. In terms of raw pace, we have seen no fall off, Jacob. New tires wouldn't seem to make much of a difference, except in terms of feeling. It's going to make it feel better. It's going to make it drive better, but I don't think new tires are going to necessarily make it faster here.
No, we haven't seen anyone really fall too far away from their fastest laps tonight. That last time around, Motegi ran a 26.930. His best lap so far tonight is a 26.861. So not a ton of drop there. That could be as simple as just getting into the corner too early or too late by, a fraction of a second here. So
yeah, and just look at how smooth Malechica's wheel is. Very little movement. Just straight down to the bottom. He's hardly turning that car at all. He's got a really good line over the bump. Very compliant. No dramas coming off at turn number 2. Down the back straight. And then watch him get through turns 3 and 4. It's just a thing of beauty, Jacob.
It's nice continual arc. You don't see any correction on the steering wheel for Malechi through there. It's just one turn down. The car basically does the rest of the turning for him, and he comes off the corner and straightens that thing out to start heading down towards 1 and 2.
Yes, he does. Almost all the way down on the white line, going through 1 and 2. He is running within 40 thousandths of his best lap time here, Jacob. That's how good that number 1 machine is. And you see him come off of turns 3 and 4 down the front stretch at Twin Ring Motegi. 41 of 125 in the books. For what it's worth, the pit window is going to be opening here this time so we could conceivably see some takers. Kyle Clintworth has not yet made it back past Alan Berteau. As a matter of fact, he has started to lose some time, and Berteau has started to reel in Ty Keela one more time. There's Ty, but he's going to be facing a challenge from Alan Berteau here within the next few laps. Berteau had closed it down to 0.6 of a second. He lost some time through 3 and 4 there. But we'll keep an eye on the battle between Keela, Berteau, and Clintworth. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you too can get in on all of the iRacing fun. And we're gonna have a lot of fun tomorrow, Jacob. You've got the Indy Next Road Series tonight at 10. It's a triple header tomorrow. 2 lights races, I believe. Correct?
That'd be news to me.
Well, I meant, do they have the ERL?
I believe that's starting up. Is that started up already?
I need to go look at my schedule. It's pretty bad with as much as I stream that I don't have the schedule committed to memory. I thought that was this week though. It is. So
they're running the Freedom 100
Yeah, tomorrow at 6:15 Eastern Time. It's the 2026 Elite Racing League Indy Lights Freedom 100 presented by the F5 Challenge. That's at 6:35 Eastern Time. At 8:15, you're going to have the INDYCAR Oval Series Tuesday night top split from Kentucky, and then the nightcap is going to be the Indy Next Oval Series from Darlington. Wednesday, the Horizon INDYCAR Series is off. The Formula Super Series will go from 8:20 at COTA. Thursday, it's the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. Jacob Collins, Talladega, my man. Talladega.
It don't get bigger or badder than Talladega.
It does not. Mercifully, we've got Friday and Saturday off. Sunday, it's another doubleheader, the Sim Gaming Expo Classic INDYCAR Series. 2 o'clock Eastern, Sunday afternoon from Willow Springs. And as always, the Votive Indy Oval Series Season 4, Round 7 from Legacy Phoenix. That's good Phoenix, Jacob. 8 o'clock Sunday night. That brings us right back to the INDYCAR Series Monday night top split at Richmond. 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right here, back-to-back ovals, and Robert Malechi, he's coming to the pit lane. That's going to leave Jason Brophy out in the lead. Adam Blocker, Ty Keela, and Seb Alexander also onto the pit lane. Crash Neon has just exited the pits. And this can be a tricky place to bring a car to pit road too, Jacob.
Yeah, it kind of is a similar pit lane field to maybe Pocono, just given where the wall kind of is straight out, but you've got just such a small distance to cover once you actually have a transition point to the pit lane there. And then getting off, right? You talk about that bump through 1 and 2. You got to run a really tight radius on the apron here to get back and rejoin on the backstretch here from Motegi.
You most certainly do. Again, looking at Jason Brophy, we're going to stick on board with him just a little bit because kind of want to show the fans at home just what it's like getting on the pit road here. I characterize it as an abrupt left. Pocono is probably the closest thing to it. It's not as severe as Milwaukee, but it's abrupt, and you don't really have a lot of time once you get off the corner to make that left into pit lane, Jacob.
No, it's not quite a full-on street course chicane like they have at Milwaukee here. I think Brophy's going to make his way down here.
There he is, and he's going to get it on the pit road. Jason Brophy will bring that number 4 machine to the attention of his pit crew, and that is going to leave this man, Alan Berteau, in the lead if he stayed out. But Berteau brings it in, so too Anna Klimek. Rashad Craig will assume the lead here.
Yeah, he'll stretch that IAR machine another lap around here. Got to imagine he's maybe trying to run log on the fuel here to maybe pick up a position or two, just given how little tire fall off we've seen. This may be the easiest way to make up spots here tonight.
It's possible, and you see him in the draft. He's got the draft help from Adam Blocker, and we know that's a rapid machine. Blocker had been running second to teammate Robert Malechka, and he's currently scored in the 5th spot. So Adam Blocker just on the tail end of the lead lap there. You see Brophy coming out, and that's just – these things are going to help Rashad a little bit. You see him move down, getting the draft of Jason Brophy. He's going to try to get underneath him, put him a lap down, but no.
No, that'll be Rashad Peel into the pit lane there, as he'll be, I believe, the last car to make his stop down the pit lane here.
He is. Now,
Corey's in for service.
He is, and that will bring the pit stop cycle to a close. Robert Malechka will reassume the lead, and he is beginning to put cars lap down. Primetime John Stellard would be next on the hit parade for the King. Robert Malechka, you see him pull up to the back of John Stellard, or excuse me, that's Olivier Simonu in the Ally machine. It's worth noting a car that we have not mentioned very much is this man, Jacob Oster. Oster started last, and he has only made it up to the 13th spot.
Yeah, it's not too uncommon to see Oster try to pull a last to first in these races, but I feel like this might have been just the wrong call here tonight with how difficult it's been to pass. We've only really seen Kyle Clenworth work his way significantly through the field, but maybe Oster's got some tricks still left up his sleeve here, work his way through the field in the later stints here tonight.
Well, it could be that power slide machine very, very, very trimmed. We haven't looked at we haven't got on the onboard to look at the back of those cars, but it could be you see the small wicker on the back of that machine. It could be that they're very, very trimmed out, and it's just not as drivable in traffic, Jacob.
Yeah, we'll see as he's kind of in a bit of an island on his own right now, trying to hunt down John Stellard for 12th. That'll be the next car up for him to try to make a move on. We'll see if he's able to get further up the field here tonight.
He is. Now let's see if we can't reset the field for everybody. Robert Malechka III, there he is. He is your leader by 3.8 seconds over teammate Adam Blocker, and there's Blocker in second. Jason Brophy, he'll be the caboose on the power slide trio. Brophy is third. Ty Keela is fourth, some 6.6 seconds adrift of Jason Brophy, and there's Kyle Clenworth is right behind teammate Ty Keela in fifth. And then you've got Alan Berteau. The Fiercely Ford campaigner runs along in sixth. He's got Anna Klimek behind him for Taylor Mills Racing in seventh. Indy Alliance captain Seb Alexander is 8th. You've got Matt Taylor from I5G in 9th, so nice recovery from him. He had fallen back to 13th or 14th at one point, Jacob, so he's driven back up quite nicely. And Rashad Craig will round out your top 10. In 11th, you've got Lilac Zier, another Taylor Mills Racing entry. Primetime John Stellard is 12th. The aforementioned Oster 13th. You've got Jarrett Corey for Fiercely Ford. In 14th, Robin Glakis runs along 15th. There's Uncle Rob. Crash Neon is 16th. Very colorful entry for Crash. He's always got a colorful car, doesn't he, Jacob?
That he most certainly does.
You should see the one he runs in the AMA. I feel like I need to wear sunglasses to look at it, but nevertheless, always good to see Crash. Handy driver in anything he touches. Casey Povolonas runs along in the 17th spot. Olivier Simonu, and there's Simonu in 18th in the Ally car. Ella Spice, shotgun on the field, is 19th, and that moves us back to the leader, Robert Malechka, and he is trying to put a lap on Crash Neon.
That he most certainly is. That gap's closed up relatively quickly here. Can't imagine it'll take Rob too long to make a move here, as he'll look to the high side in 1 and 2 as Crash will come low. He'll likely have the momentum down the back straightaway here to make a clean pass here on the lap machine of Crash Neon.
Yeah, he's going to have to do it on the high side. I think Neon's going to pull over down the back and let him go high into 3 and 4, so move Crash Neon to the first of the cars, 1 lap down, and Robert Malechka will set sail after Robin Glakis. It's worth noting that Kyle Clinworth and Ty Keela are having a dispute over the 4th position. There's Keela in front of Clinworth. There's 2 guys that race together a lot. Teammates know each other very well. Ty's giving it a heck of a ride. He and Clinworth right now, best of the non-power slide runners, best of the rest, as you say. They've got fast cars, but they're just consistently about 1/10 to 2/10 off the pace of Malechka, Blocker, and Brophy.
That could be also one of the things that helped Clenworth carve through the field, too, right? We were talking about the likes of Jacob Oster maybe having a bit more of a trimmed-out machine here tonight. And maybe they're just running a little bit more drag to make it more manageable in traffic, and they weren't necessarily expected to be this far up the field with nobody ahead of them in terms of the kind of the airspace they're in tonight.
Yeah, and who knows? You get a caution flag, and it's gonna trip that whole thing up, just because you're gonna have all the cars in the draft, and the handling is gonna change. The power slide cars at the front are not near each other. Adam Blocker is 4 seconds nearly behind Robert Malechka, and then it's another 1.3 back to Jason Brophy. But again, they're all running identical lap times, 26.9 dash. And then Keela and Clinworth, 27.1, 27.2. And that's pretty much the story for the rest of the field. They're all in that 27 second bracket, Jacob.
Just clicking the laps off, getting through this second stint here. Obviously, pit stops were only done just a handful of laps ago, about a dozen some for the tail end of the pit cycle there. So we've got a while until we're going to see potentially another jumbling of the field here, at least in a significant fashion potentially, through that pit cycle.
It's possible. And the thing with Rashad Craig, with him staying out as long as he did, he picked up 6 laps over the leaders that last time through. If he does it again, he'll have 12 laps in hand when he comes down to make the final stop. And that might not sound like a lot, but that is, Jacob, I believe, going to be 4 gallons of fuel. The tires take 11.5 gallons to fit to the car. So, Rashad Craig may be in a position where he may be able to shave a couple of seconds off his final stop. The additional fuel for every gallon is like a little bit over 0.3 of a second. What it takes to get a gallon of gas in these things, 3-4 something like that.
Yeah, that math all relatively checks out from what I recall, and that could be all the difference, right? He sits about a second back of Matt Taylor, another 2 to Seb Alexander, that could be a spot or 2 or 3 coming the end of this race that he can make up just by saving that little bit of extra fuel and shorten up that last pit stop.
It could be. Robert Malechko works over the back of Robin Glakis, and Glakis running in the 15th spot. He's not having a bad day, but Malechko will easily slide to the inside of the veteran, move Robert Malechko around Robin Glakis, and he'll set sail after Jarrett Corey. Now, Corey is about 3 seconds up the road from Malechka in the 14th spot. And then after Jarrett Corey, he would be putting a lap on Jacob Oster.
Yeah, Oster just kind of a little bit ahead of that road racing entry from Jarrett Corey. That'll be quite the sight to see. Of course, Jacob Oster's not too much of a familiar for being off the tail of Robert Malechka or even battling with him, just maybe not for the spot on the lead lap.
No, and like I say, I think it could be that the power slide entries very trimmed. They're optimized to run out in the wind, and if they get in traffic, it may be difficult to handle that car deep in the field. As we see Malechka continue to stretch his lead, it's worth noting he lost 0.4 of a second trying to get around Robin Glakis back to Adam Blocker. He had added almost up to 4 seconds. He lost 10% of his lead in those 2 laps he spent behind Glakis. So that car may not like dirty air, Jacob.
Certainly will be interesting to see if that comes to fruition. We've stayed caution-free through the opening stages here. Field's relatively spread out, so it'll take maybe a big single car oops to bring out the fun flag, as some may like to call it every once in a while. But
sure, sure could use a fun flag sometimes, Jacob. Kyle Clinworth just became the only driver not piloting a power slide machine to get into the 26-second range on that last lap. Well, Tykila has done it just barely too, but now there are 5 cars that have broken 26 seconds in the run. Everybody else trapped above that 27-second line, and it's methodical. Just a couple of tenths a lap. Malechka pulls away from Keela, Clinworth, and Bruteau. That last time through, 26.971. For Tykila, 27.015. So just about half a tenth, lap over lap after lap. And it all adds up and it all builds, Jacob Collins.
Yeah, that's the thing with this track, is so much of its momentum. You could almost translate it to a lot of short ovals you'd see across IndyCar racing in some ways. Obviously, we made the Gateway comparison earlier, but just with the amount of momentum you kind of have to have constantly built up around this track, and just the slightest bit of slip up is such a big time cost here that it's just so hard to make inroads on anybody here, especially with how even the pace is through the bulk of the field tonight.
Yeah, most certainly is. And I look at this, and people may say, oh, it's boring. You got one guy running away with it. To me, this is a thing of beauty. What Robert Malechka is accomplishing here. It's not just that he's running away from the field; he's running away from 2 guys who we would assume are in, if not identical cars, very similar. So I know that this race may need the old fun flag, but watching Malechka run away here is exciting in and of itself, Jacob.
Well, it just goes to show how consistent that those cars have been so far here tonight, too, right? We saw kind of Brophy and Blocker kind of build bounds on each other for a little while there. It wasn't that long ago we saw Adam Blocker lingering within about a second of Malechka, and it's just, it's that having the clean air, being able to have the momentum built up the best, and that's really what's going to separate the cars out here tonight, and you could see that even amongst the teammates at the front here.
You can indeed. 77 to 125 complete. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell so you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. You are watching the iRacing IndyCar Series top split for the open setup division. Got Shane Coker in the chat. If you're in the chat, hit us up. Ask a question. We would love to interact with our fans. Jacob Collins loves nothing more than a good Q&A, don't you, Collins?
Every once in a while.
He had us watching SpongeBob last night at 11 o'clock.
Well, yeah, we were having fun, Mark.
I don't know, Mr. Krabs. I promised Jacob I'd call him Mr. Krabs at least once tonight in the broadcast, so there you go, Mr. Krabs. Jacob likes to think that I'm the Squidward of the iRacing IndyCar community. As we pull into that second pit window, it will open. Well, it's open now, Jacob. Theoretically, you could pit and make it home from here, and Matt Taylor has already popped onto the pit lane, so he's going to take his short stop now.
Yeah, we got a couple cars making their stop here, kind of in the two-third mark, if you will, of this race as we're working lap 81 here as Motegi looking to hunt down that Jarrett Corey machine. Brashear's asking what's Rob's favorite chicken wing flavor. Mason Mitchum, he says he doesn't have a visa for Motegi tonight, and Ryan Cass is cheering for SpongeBob, so.
I got to see if there's a SpongeBob paint scheme. I'll put it on the car for you, Jacob.
There's got to be at least two.
I'll tell you what. I'll run Squidward if you run Mr. Krabs. How's that?
That works for me.
I'd ask Mace if he used the MasterCard again. You see Robert Motegi, he's diving underneath. That would be Jarrett Corey, so he's going to put Corey alive down. And next up on the hit parade is going to be teammate Jacob Oster. Ellis Spice has made his second pit stop, and so Spice is now good to go to the end, as is Matt Taylor. And there's Taylor in the I5G entry. Seb Alexander has now come to the pit lane. So drivers are electing to make the second stop their short stop, Jacob. And those cars are now done. They can run them to the end.
I'm wondering if some of that, too, is just to be able to run full rip with having clean air potentially. Depending on where they cycle out, that's going to put them in a spot where they're basically on islands all by themselves, can hold it foot to the floor, just click the laps off, and that might be what they're trying to bank on here, just given how spread the field's gotten here tonight. Two cars that haven't really separated away from each other is Rogue Racing's Ty Keeler and Kyle Clenworth. They're still rolling along in fourth and fifth, about a quarter of a second spread apart from each other. But that's held strong pretty much this entire second stint here. We'll see what happens if they stop to maybe the play nice show in the final stint here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they've been joined at the hip. Clenworth will pull back up on Ty Keela. He's then forced to pull out of the dirty air, and Keela will keep the position. But those two cars essentially running the same speed. They are ever so slightly continuing to pull away from Alan Berteau and Anna Klimek behind them, but they're still just consistently losing that half-tenth to a tenth per lap over the power slide cars. Clenworth is going to come into the pit lane, so Clindy will make his final stop. Keela will stay out on the racing surface, and these are going to be deciding stops. If you can get in a nice spot in traffic and get yourself maybe latched on to a faster car that you haven't been around all day, you might be able to make up some time. So we'll see what happens with Clenworth. The flip side of that is, if you're any one of these cars that have pitted, and now Ty Keela will drop onto the pit lane. If you're any one of these cars that have pitted, and the fun flag flies now, your fun is over, right? You're going to be trapped a lap down. And for Matt Taylor, Jacob Oster, they're 2 laps down, so they don't even get the wave around situation to get him back on the lead lap. Looking at Anna Klimek. Rashad Craig is pulled up on the back of Lilac Zier. This is really the only battle for position on the track. And Rashad Craig all over the back of that pink that lavender and black Taylor Mills Racing entry.
Well, I'd like to think that that's a lilac-colored machine.
Lilac. Excuse me for not knowing. What's the proper name for the color wheel, Jacob?
I believe they refer to it as a palette.
Yes, forgive me for being incorrect in my palette. I'm not the artiste. I can barely draw a stick figure.
Well, this is probably a good thing for Rashad. He ran long on that first stint. If he's able to save just a little bit more and have caught, cars he's battling for position with on merit, on pace here, that may put him in a good spot to cycle ahead of them come the end of this pit cycle here.
Indeed, they will. Still watching Rashad Craig and see if he can't make the move around Lilac Zier. Meanwhile, Anna Klimek is starting to close down on Alan Bruteau. There's Klimek. We're going to jump into her right eyeball, and there's Alan Bruteau right in front of Anna Klimek. She is fifth and looking for a little bit more, Jacob.
A kind of slow march forward, trying to make up another spot here late in this stint before coming down the pit lane. Of course, Klimek and Bruteau stopped on the same lap last time, 41 laps ago, so they're going to be likely expected to come down here in just a couple laps' time, top up on some fuel, get ready to roll through the final quarter of this race here.
Yes, indeed. Now we're talking about Indy Kirchenbauer. Of course, Indy won the Dark Horse race last night. Now we're talking about Indy Kirchenbauer's crayons. So we know that the Chad is in good shape. Kyle Clinworth is now back up to the 11th spot after his stop. He's moved past Seb Alexander. And so Clindy is back on the march. Critically, though, Ty Keela maintained his advantage. As a matter of fact, he gained about 3 seconds in the pit stop exchange. Keela came out well ahead of teammate Kyle Clinworth.
Yeah, a fairly considerable margin between those two drivers. Maybe wonder if Kyle had a bit of trouble getting on or off the pit lane, or maybe overslid his box. A number of things can kind of happen in that stretch. We'll see if he's able to reel in Keela at all here as he lingers now some 3 seconds adrift.
Yes, he is, and Ty Keela bidding to be the best of the rest. Everybody in front of him is going to need to make a pit stop, and he is now the first car 1 lap down as Robert Malechka peels his power slide entry back onto the speedway. He had just stopped. He is the first of the leaders to blink. Adam Blocker now in pit lane, and that's going to hand the lead to this man, Jason Brophy.
Yeah, Brophy's going to run a little bit longer this time. He'll be joined by Bruteau and Klimek, it looks like. We'll see if they opt to come down this time around or not. Lilac Zier's getting down to the pit lane now. This go around.
Zier to the pit lane, and so that leaves the top 7 now, having not pitted. Malechka and Blocker exited 11 seconds clear of Ty Keela, who had a hot pit entry, Jacob, because he picked up quite a bit of time over Clinworth and even the leaders Malechka and Blocker.
And we'll see how that plays out once the cycle completes here. Malechka's worked into that 7th spot. Of course, 1 lap down for now, but it'll take the lead back once the cycle concludes. We're still waiting for Brophy, Bruteau, Klimek, Craig, Corey, and Povalones to peel down for one final stop here tonight.
We are indeed still watching Jason Brophy, waiting on his final pit stop, and that's going to come within the next 3 to 5 laps. Jason Brophy is going to hit the pit lane. Do want to thank again everybody for tuning in. Nice crowd on hand. It is the INDYCAR Open Series on iRacing. Mark Murphy, Jacob Collins with you here on P1. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the fun. Casey Povalones is going to hit the pit lane, and that is going to leave Brophy out in the lead one more time, and now we're just 4 cars on the lead lap. And we're going to these drivers are going to need some help, Jacob. These guys are going to need some help to make it. Brophy is going to hit the pit road. You see Malechka go past. Jarrett Corey is on the pit lane in front of him. And for Jarrett Corey, a bad night goes more interesting. Too fast entering the pit lane. He's going to have a 40-second stop and hold, Jacob. Meanwhile, that'll turn the lead right back over to Rashad Craig. And so we saw him lead at the end of the last cycle. You think Rashad's not praying for the old yellow, Jacob?
Well, it certainly helped his situation a little bit because I'd cycle him ahead against cars that would have to take the wave around here. But I think Rashad's just as aware that we are that it's asking for a bit of a miracle here with this spread as this field's become. He'll continue to cycle on to lap 102.
It is indeed.
A couple cars left on the lead lap.
Povolona's just so you know, Mace, he did just stop 1 lap ago. So he's made his final stop as we work into lap 102 here at Motegi. And Rashad Craig will peel the Indy Alliance machine off, and that'll hand the lead right on back to this guy, Robert Malechka, who is now 4 seconds ahead, 4.1 seconds ahead of the Dark Knight Adam Blocker. And there's Adam, who in turn is another 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds ahead of Jason Brophy. So an all power slide top 3. Ty Keela is 4th. He is cleared Alan Bruteau now by 1.8 seconds. Anna Klimek right behind Bruteau, and this is the battle for position, and we'll stay here and watch Anna and Alan. Kyle Clinworth has slid back to the 7th spot, so maybe some problems there for Clindy, Jacob?
Well, it could be just that pit cycle. You know, we saw him lose significant time to Taikila, and that's what it was going to take to maybe leapfrog a spot or two. He's going to have to fight his way back on by Alan Bruteau and Anna Klimek if he wants to hold on to the 5th place spot here tonight.
Yes, indeed. Crash Neon moves out of the way of Anna Klimek as she continues to chase that man, Alan Bruteau. With 20 laps to go, you would think at this point that it's going to take a caution flag for the field to cycle around, catch up, and try to have any kind of a shot at those power slide cars.
Yeah, and just given how fast that they were able to fire off here, it'd be tough press, especially given it would be a single file restart for any of these drivers to maybe make a move at the top 3 here tonight. But certainly not out of the question as we work inside the final 20 laps here as Malechka continues down the backstretch here from Motegi.
Yes, indeed. Taking a look at the battle between Klimek and Bruteau, there is one more. It's Lilac Zier and Rashad Craig. Lilac also does have Matt Taylor just about 0.6 of a second up the road. You can kind of see him in the corner of the frame. They've got Olivier Samunu in between them there in that number 19 Ally machine. But it's not just, Jacob, that it's not just that the leaders have run away and hid. This entire field is very, very spread out.
Yeah, I was actually watching this battle between John Stellard and Jacob Oster the last couple laps. Adam Blocker's kind of split them apart, and Oster's going to try to work his way back forward to make a pass on Stellard for the 12th spot. It's just surprising to see how spread this field has become as we've got, we're maybe going to wind up with just the top 10, if not less, on the lead lap here coming into this one.
Well, and that's kind of the thing is you see Jacob Oster will go back and catch Rashad Craig because he is now to the outside of Lilac Zier, trying to see if he can't work that IR machine around the TMR entry of Lilac Zier. Zier is going to drop to the inside of Olivier Samunu, and so move Lilac Zier one more spot, at least track position-wise, and that's going to be a boon for her because Rashad Craig now has a car in between himself and Zier, and he had almost been in a position to make that pass not too long ago, Jacob.
Yeah, towards the end of that previous stint, he was kind of right off the gearbox of Lilac, and just given how the cycle worked out, he's cycled back behind her. We'll see if maybe he's got the slight tire advantage, just feels more comfortable in the car to make it through these final 15 or so laps here to make a move here inside the top 10.
Does indeed. We're inching down toward the conclusion here. Jacob, we're going to flip it over. We've got 15 laps yet to run here at Twin Ring Motegi. Robert Malechka, it's been the Power Slide show tonight. Malechka, Blocker, and Brophy. There's your leader, Robert Malechka, now 5 seconds ahead of Adam Blocker, and he has lapped everybody up to 11th place, Rashad Craig, and Craig is just up the road. Craig Zier and Matt Taylor are all within range of going a lap down to end this race as we get down to the final 13 laps, roughly 21 miles at Motegi, 22 miles.
Well, in a surprise tournament events, it looks like we're going to have a three-way battle for the 4th spot as Alan Bertot's caught Ty Keela and Anna Klemic not too far off there as well. So we might get ourselves at least a couple more trades for position here before this one closes out.
Yeah, Ty Keela definitely had a problem a couple of laps ago. I don't know if he got up and scraped the wall, but he is his pace has slowed substantially. Bertot is going to get by Ty Keela and move into that 4th spot. And there's Ty. He'll drop to 5th, and we'll see if the draft might be able to cure whatever's happened to that Rogue Racing entry. He'll slide to the bottom on Alan Bertot, move Ty Keela right back to the 4th spot, and now he's going to we're going to get the snake going down the front straight, trying to break that draft.
Yeah, it might just be Bertot caught the draft of Ty Keela and's been able to reel him back in through the slipstream. We'll see if that continues to be the case as Ty will go defensive here. Bertot will have to look to the high side in 3 and 4 here. We'll see how this plays out.
Bertot just simply can't keep the momentum going on that upper groove. Keela will hold the position one more time. Bertot, whoa! Big move from Ty Keela across the nose, and Bertot forced to take the high groove, but I think he's going to, well, Ty Keela shuts the door, going down the back on the bottom. Bertot's going to have to do it the hard way around, Jacob.
Yeah, Bertot showing immense patience trying to make this move happen so he can try to get ahead of Ty Keela. And once he can kind of make a solid move here, I think that might play into his favor, just given how much Ty's having to do to hold that spot here as he's going almost all the way to the pit wall down the front stretch here to hold on to this 4th spot. Now,
fuel shouldn't be a concern unless Ty Keela made a miscalculation. Is it possible that, he didn't, he maybe didn't unclick the auto fuel button and it gave him, a gallon or two less than what he needed to get home, and now he's had to dial it back, Jacob?
Well, we'll have to see. I would think if it was not close at all, like he had significantly underfueled, I don't think he'd be fighting this hard. If it's maybe a slight underfuel, maybe a half a gallon, he might be trying to fight for it here, but we'll just have to wait and see as we get to the final, 2/3 of a dozen here, laps to go here for Motegi if he can hold on here to the 4th spot.
2/3 of a dozen. We don't know what that is at Ball State. Come on, Jacob. 2/3 of a dozen.
That'd be 8.
You're gonna make me do fractions?
Well, we gotta help the kids in the audience learn too, Mark.
Isn't it past their bedtime, Jacob? It's 9:00 Eastern.
There might be a couple still out there.
Anna Klemic, big dive on Alan Bertot. Bertot got caught up in the dirty air from Ty Keela, and Klemic backs out of the move on Bertot, but I don't know that Bertot just didn't smack the wall a little bit there, Jacob.
It looks awfully close every time they come off a turn 4 here if they're going to make contact with that outside wall or not. It's kind of the story of the track here. Bertot's going to build some momentum back up, maybe start to take a look at Ty Keela these next couple laps. It's running out of time, though, as that kind of the distance continues to equidist between the likes of Klemic, Bertot, and Keela.
Yeah, and you got to wonder maybe if Alan Bertot got the old Firestones mad at him a little bit, trying to make those moves on Ty if he, had shot his shot, so to speak, and now he's just going to have to fight it all the way home as Klemic's going to look to the inside of Bertot one more time, and Anna Klemic didn't quite get there. And these are two former series champions doing this for the 5th and 6th spot too, Jacob.
Klemic, I think, is currently the reigning series champ here in the IndyCar Open Series, so it's not an uncommon sight to see her giving it her all, particularly on these ovals. We've seen quite the growth over the last 6 or 9 months or so on the ovals for Klemic.
Absolutely. I mean, there are, speaking of champions, there are quite a few in this field. Robert Malechka, Adam Blocker, of course. You've got Alan Bertot, Adam Klemic, and Rashad Craig. So there are 5 former Series titleists in this field, with Anna Klimek being the defending champion.
They battle side by side down the backstretch. Klemek's going to look to the bottom here, try to hold that Taylor Mills Racing machine nice and tight here, see if she can clear Berteau on the exit. Not going to be enough, at least to confidently clear here, but they'll be side by side as they head towards turn 1.
Berteau doesn't quite clear Klimek, though, as they go into turns 1 and 2. Maybe had it there, but Klimek very, very, very stubbornly clinging to that inside line, and she's got him cleared now. I think, nope, had it for just a fraction. Now I think she's good to slide up, Jacob.
Oh, so now we can use fractions, Mark?
Yes, as long as you don't make me try to translate in my head what the fraction is. They're still side by side as they head through turns 1 and 2 down the back, 3 and 4 upcoming. And now Berteau's got a huge disadvantage because Ella Spice is up there. White flag is out for this man.
Ooh.
Robert,
having a bit of contact between Berteau and Klimek off 4 there. They're going to get past Spice. This will be the final lap this time.
Molechka is going to come through and win the race, and we are absolutely going to flash back to the battle between Anna Klimek and Alan Berteau. Klimek is going to have one more stab at it going through turns 3 and 4. She's going to throw it in the bottom. Jacob, can she make it stick? No.
No, not able to hold it, and kind of binds up on the bottom lane there. That'll be Berteau. Hold on to the 5th spot. Valiant effort from everybody in that battle between Keela Berteau and Klimek. Kyle Clenworth will bring it home in 7th ahead of Seb Alexander. Lilacs here, Rashad Craig, I believe, holds on to the 10th spot over Matt Taylor.
Yes, indeed they do. Everybody is already. They must have dinner reservations somewhere, Jacob, because everybody is already out of the session. Your winner tonight at Twin Ring Motegi in the iRacing IndyCar Open Top Split, Robert Molechka, brings it home 2.1 seconds ahead of Adam Blocker, and then it's another 2.7 seconds back to Jason Brophy in 3rd, an all-power slide podium. Ty Keela 4th, Alan Berteau comes home 5th, then Anna Klimek, Kyle Clenworth, Seb Alexander, Lilac Zier, and Rashad Craig round out your top 10 in 11th. It's going to be Matt Taylor, primetime John Stellard is 12th, Jacob Oster, Robin Glakis, Casey Povolonis, 12th through 15th, and then Crash Neon, Olivier Simonu, Ella Spice, and Jarrett Corey are the remainder of your 19-car field. Caution-free, Jacob. Caution-free here at Motegi as we see Robert Molechka parked on the start-finish line. All right, Jacob. We'll see if we can't get the drivers up here. As we do when there are 3 teammates, we're just gonna bring them all in together. Maybe if I can grab Adam. Hold on. There we go. Adam Blocker, Jason Brophy, Robert Molechka III. You're all in together for a group interview. Congratulations, guys. 1, 2, 3, and it was dominant.
Yeah, I guess it went according to plan. It wasn't really at all difficult. I mean, we kind of dominated it, and would have been, so we beat the field by, would have been 20 seconds, but I'd let those guys kind of battle it out for a 9th there. So, yeah, I think we all kind of cruised around there for the majority of the race. Yeah, it was a pretty successful day for us.
We noticed that your guys' cars were very, very, very easy to turn. It was almost like none of you 3 were really turning the wheel all that hard. What's it like to have a car that good where it just almost drives itself?
It's terrifying. We were.
I heard some noises out of the first two.
We're every time in 1 and 2 we're crashing. So I don't think maybe for half the stint we're maybe full throttle, and we're just trying to control what we can, but go as fast as we can, right? So, I mean, I know for Adam and myself, we were wrecking loose for probably the entire race.
Definitely the first stint, I was sideways in 1 and 2 a few times, till I kind of figured out a better line that would work. But yeah, I was terrified to add wheel to the car in 1 and 2, but you needed it with like how bad the tailwind was off of 4 in this session. Like it just was really, there's a lot of push there. So
yeah, when I was running down to Adam at the end of the first stint, I think it was just because I was tightened by the fact that I was in some dirty air, made it so I could run a little faster and get it closer. So.
Indeed. Jacob Collins, what do you have for the Power Slide Trio?
Well, I'll help Mr. Brashear answer the tough questions here. What's y'all's favorite chicken wing flavor?
Ooh, habanero. I really like habanero. Anything with spice makes you sweat, That's good stuff.
I'm gonna be a bitch and say Parmesan garlic.
Parmesan garlic.
Just classic buffalo. Like if I'm gonna do buffalo with blue cheese.
All right, so there you go, Brashear. We've got habanero, we've got Parmesan garlic, and buffalo with blue cheese. I think what Caleb's trying to say is when we all get together at the Sim Gaming Expo in Chicago, we're all going to B-Dubs.
Yeah,
for hot wings.
And we can all have the hottest wing. See who suffers the most.
That would definitely be me with the ulcers. I have to take 4 Nexium a day just to survive. So I will not be partaking in the hottest wing ever. But boys, you all ran beautiful races. Congratulations on locking out the podium. I'll let Brophy go first. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours.
I'll shout out team owners Ty and Tommy for letting us run under these wonderful paints. I'll hand it off to and the guys at Power Slide. I didn't do really any work on this race. That's all Adam, Jacob, Rob. So they did an excellent job.
Yeah, I just want to think about Power Slide was definitely a good race setup. I think Q could have used some work, but yeah, overall it was good. And yeah, thank everybody for coming out and y'all for supporting the series with the broadcast. It's always appreciated.
Yeah, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, just to second that. I mean, it's just for a track that is very difficult to overtake and racing isn't that good, to get almost a 5K SOF is a testament to the quality of guys we have, or quality of drivers we have in this field. Yeah, thanks for everyone coming out.
Absolutely.
You were excited for this race, Rob.
I was kind of sad I missed it. I'm one of those weird people that likes Motegi. So
2 is actually one of the more difficult corners for this car. Like you are having.
Rob thought there would be driving and like actual passing involved, but that's a fix. Yeah, because you can make a bad set that races.
Shout out, Tom.
All right, boys. I'll let you guys get back to it. Don't roast Rob too hard. But thank you so much for stopping in. Keep going fast and having fun, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Adios.
Thank you.
Yep. That is Robert Malechka, Jason Brophy, and Adam Blocker. They're having a little bit of fun cutting up, aren't they, Jacob?
Well, there's got to be a little friendly banter between teammates every once in a while, right?
There does. I feel bad I didn't show Jason Brophy's car at the end. Final thoughts, Mr. Collins.
That was a race from Motegi. Certainly not too uncommon to see long stretches of green flag running, but to get 125 laps nonstop green flag action, can't really ask for too much more than that in any of these oval races. It's good to see kind of that whole play out. And we had battles all the way to the end. We had that battle between Caleb, Berteau, and Klemek that came down to the last couple laps there, and it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want more fun, we've got a lot more of it coming. The Indy Next Road Series Monday Night Top Split from the Nürburgring Grand Prix course is next. Jacob Collins, Sophie Connell will have that for you. Sophie Connell will have that for you at 10 Eastern Time. Tomorrow it's a triple header on the front end. The Elite Racing League is going to have the 13th running of their Freedom 100. That goes off at 6:45 Eastern Standard Time. 6:15 Eastern Standard Time, excuse me. The INDYCAR Oval Series Tuesday night top split, the flagship broadcast 8:15 Eastern Standard from Kentucky, and then the nightcap, it's going to be the Indy Next Oval Series Tuesday night top split from Darlington at 9:30. The Formula Super Series will be at COTA on Wednesday, 8:20 start for that one. The AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series on Thursday, 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start, and that is going to be from Talladega. The Sim Gaming Expo Classic INDYCAR Series will go from Willow Springs at 2 o'clock on Sunday, and then at 8, it's going to be the Votive Indy Oval Series from Legacy Phoenix, and that'll bring us right back here to the INDYCAR Series Monday night, Open Series Monday night top split from Richmond. Do want to thank all of the fans in the stands, the drivers and the competitors on the track. But we would be remiss if we didn't thank the people who really made this possible. The military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and Jacob Collins, the nurse that unloads you when you get there. From the bottom of our heart, we thank you all. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you in an hour from the Nürburgring.